Unit on Civil War. We're going to discuss 6 important individuals in the Civil War. Can y'all name me some?
Robert E. Lee.
Robert E. Lee? Jefferson Davis? Abraham Lincoln? Those are 3 we're going to do. It's going to be 6. We're going to go over 2 presidents, the 2 major generals, and I saw Alex look at me when I said 2 presidents. But there were 2 presidents. And 2 generals that served up under General Robert E. Lee and General Ulysses S. Grant. Okay? I'm going to pass out some questions to some certain people, and I'll ask you to read these and answer them. So, during our reading, you need to answer these, okay? Not too tough. Y'all can help each other with them, alright?
Mr. Randolph, you gave one to William.
Okay, that's fine. William can have one. Okay. Now, look at me. We're going to do a chalk talk. Who remembers about the chalk talk? Who does the talking in chalk talk? The marker. Alright? I have a word up here because there's a couple of you that haven't been in here before when I've done it before. Civil War. Okay? Civil War. You come and write anything you know about the Civil War. We'll spend about 5 or 7 minutes. After you finish, go give the chalk to someone that has their hand raised. Okay? And we'll start with Alex. Just anything you know. It can be people. It can be a battle. It can be who was in it, what it was about. Alright?
Do you want me to scoot up while he's doing it?
You just keep right there. Just as long as you can see him. And don't worry about spelling. Just do your best. We'll figure it out, okay? Okay, somebody else. Okay, good. Somebody else. Anything about the Civil War? Think about Coach Ferris's class. Anything you know about the Civil War? Anything. Somebody knows more than just Jordan and Alex. Of course, when we do this again, you'll have some information. Just do Abe, A-B-E. We'll know who that is. That was a nickname for him, Abe. Okay? Anybody else can think of anything else? Okay, well, we're just starting it. That's okay. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take a picture of this. Because after we study about these 6 guys, I bet we have a lot more talk going on. We have several of them going on. Okay, let me give you a few facts, a few important facts about the Civil War. Somebody, who was it between? North and the South in our country, right? North and the South in our country. What year was the Civil War fought? And those of you that have questions, may want to be listening carefully. What year was the Civil War fought? How long did it last? Does anybody know the years or approximately? Great. 1861 to 1865. That's 5 years. It lasted 5 years. 1861 to 1865. Do you know where the Civil War began? Fort Sumter, South Carolina. That's when the first shots were fired. Do you know where the peace treaty was signed? It ended, of course, in 1865. Okay, it was at Appomattox Courthouse. Appomattox Courthouse. How many people died? Do y'all know? It was a lot because it was Americans fighting against Americans, right? So several Americans lost their lives. They're estimating the number between 640,000 and 700,000. 300,000 Union soldiers and 260,000 Confederate soldiers. Why do you think? Because who won the war? The North. Why do you think there were more Northern soldiers that died than Southern soldiers? They didn't have experience. There was more of them too to die. There was several more Union soldiers. You'll find that out in it. Okay, and again, we know who fought it. It was the Northern states. Who was the Northern states country? What's our country? United States of America. And then we're going to find out who the Southern states. Does anybody know who the Southern states? What the name of their country was? We actually, not Winston County, because we're the free state of Winston County. Remember, Winston County didn't join. It's the Confederate States of America. Winston County pulled out from the Confederate States of America. They were known as the free state, the free state. Okay, let's see. Do you know what caused the Civil War? There's several causes, but what was the main cause? Economy, because it's the taxes that were put on the South, right? Territory. What was the main reason? Slavery. 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 That was the main reason. When Abraham Lincoln was elected, the Southern plantation owners almost felt he was going to dismantle the institution of slavery. Okay. I'm going to give you out a packet. We're only going to go, this is something that takes take a few days to do, but we're going to go over the first two gentlemen. First two important characters in the Civil War. As you're doing this,
Will, you need a pencil?
as you're doing this, you're going to fill in this note sheet. Okay? You're going to fill in this note sheet. Now, who was the first one on? Abraham Lincoln. Okay? All right, look at the first paragraph. I'm going to read it for you. Abraham Lincoln, 1809 to 1865, that's birth to his death, was the 16th President of the United States during one of the most consequential periods in American history, the Civil War. Before being elected President, Lincoln served in the Illinois legislature and lost an election for the U.S. Senate to Stephen A. Douglas. Nevertheless, his fierce campaign earned him a nomination for the presidency. The first Republican president ever. It's an important fact. First Republican president ever. Lincoln led the Union to victory in the Civil War and ended slavery in America. Now, you know there's several different names for which side was which. You had the United States, who was also known as the Union, right? Who we also refer to as the North. Can you think of a slang term that we call Northerners? Yankees. Very good. Yankees. The Yankees. Okay, so there's some terms for them. For the South, what are some other things we call Southerners when we're talking about the war? What's the name of their country? What was the name of this country except for Winston County? Remember how I said the Confederate States of America? We were the Confederates. The Southerners were called the Confederates. The South, they were also called rebels because they broke away from the United States. You all have heard of rebel yell before, haven't you? That was what the Southerners would use. With firm conviction, Lincoln declared South Carolina secession illegal and pledged to go to war to protect the federal union in 1861. Now look at that word there, secession. Do you know what it means? South Carolina's secession from the Union. Can anybody tell me that's an important vocabulary word? What do you think, Alex? Secession from the Union. South Carolina, secession from the Union. They left. Secession means leaving, breaking away. Very good. During the 4 years of the American Civil War, the President steered the institution of slavery, steered the North to victory, and authored the Emancipation Proclamation, which we'll look at this document later, which dealt a severe blow to the institution of slavery. So we know the Emancipation Proclamation from this sentence is going to disband slavery, right? Lincoln was a thoughtful and soft-spoken man who used words sparingly, but to great effect. So he wasn't loud and boisterous, was he? His brilliance was captured in the Gettysburg Address, which is another document we will look at later, in which he movingly related the ongoing Civil War to the founding principles of America. This speech only lasted 2 minutes, but it has made its mark in history. It's still studied today. Lincoln's assassination on April 14, 1865, removed his politically moderate influence from the national stage, giving way to a more radical Reconstruction, and we'll get into that a little later. So fill in this closed sheet that I read aloud for you. When you finish, turn over and I want you to read about Jefferson Davis to yourself or with your group. You know, you can work with your group. Jefferson Davis, and fill in the note sheet on him. And from this note sheet, I'm going to give you another sheet. You're going to transfer some information. The more we write, remember I've told you before, when you study it, write, you're going to learn it. You're going to learn it. The more we write about it, the easier it is for us to retain the information. If you're having trouble, raise your hand.